And 12-year-old Eddie is having a blast right now as we sit next to the guy. I was telling Baron Davis before we started rolling, the literal poster of my childhood home was this man right here, Baron Davis. So Baron, first off, man, such a treat for me, selfishly, to be able to sit down and talk to you. But really stoked that you were in the facility today, had a chance to look at all our studio setup, the control room, all the really fun stuff that we get to do here with the Raiders and Silver and Black production. So first off, man, thanks for coming in and hanging out. How are you today?
Oh, man, I'm great. I mean, I'm like a kid in a candy store right now. Raiders, I got my kids here. You know, I'm trying to get them to bleed that Silver and Black. You know, they ain't buying it.
They're not buying it. In time.
We're going to get them.
In time,
one
we're going to get
there.
there.
I converted one of them.
There we go.
I'm happy. I feel like a kid, you know, just to be, you know, such a storied franchise and organization. And, I mean, it just represents, I feel like, who I am as a person, but, you know, it represents California, Southern California, the West. I mean, it is the West Coast team.
And speaking of, you know, a West Coast guy, right? Like we're talking about all the great memories that I have watching you growing up in the North Bay when you were a Warrior, obviously spent time in Los Angeles too, and you look at this organization, right? It's a lot of time in LA, a lot of time in the North Bay too, not time here in Las Vegas. And I think you hit the nail on the head where this is like a team that I think, I'll admit my bias, like a team that really does speak to the West Coast in general, similar to you.
Yeah, it speaks to the West Coast culture. I mean, you know, when it comes to hip hop and sports and, you know, the kind of convergence of how that operated, I think the Raiders were the epicenter of it. You know, and then being here in Vegas, it creates a cultural hub, right? So there's this common ground that Oakland, LA, San Diego, New Mexico, people who used to drive and tailgate, they can all convene in Vegas, which is an incredible city and a melting pot to house, you know, all the different areas of Raider fans to congregate.
And speaking of Vegas, I know you didn't, not this trip, but the last trip you had a chance to go to Allegiant. I almost called it Oracle for a sec, but you had a chance to go to Allegiant, check it all out, man. I mean, what was your kind of takeaway as a dude who's played in some incredible stadiums, incredible arenas in your career? Like, and I know it wasn't a game day, but what did you kind of think of the scene there when you got to check it out?
I mean, I thought it was, you know, very sleek. Design well, the suites look good, the way the arena, I like the arena, right? Because as a player, you want to go out, you want to stand on that field and you want to look around and feel like your fans are right there. When you come in, you know, and you're on that field, the fans feel like they're a part of the action and you don't want to leave your seat. But if you leave your seat, there's a lot of convenience, you know, right in the concessions. But the layout is beautiful. I got a chance to go in the locker room. Locker room was great. The artwork, like paying attention to the artwork and the homage to the Vegas artists in the arena, and then in the stadium, not arena, in the stadium, it was super cool too to see the different art collections. So to me, it's like a big football museum, like Raider Museum.
You know what's interesting too, when you were talking about kind of the Raiders speaking to the entirety of the West Coast, I think that when you look at the art in particular too in Allegiant, it speaks to that also. Like everything. I say this all the time. Everything is Vegas, right? Yeah. In the best way in that stadium. But there's also a lot of really tasteful homages to, you know, the history of this place, to the history in Los Angeles, to the history in Oakland, to the fact that this is a global fan base, a fan base that isn't contained to one small geographic area. So, I mean, we were talking about this place just being so encompassing of everything on the West Coast, and even down to the artwork at Allegiant, it feels like that's the case too.
Yeah, everything represents the nostalgia. That's why I call it a museum. You know, you got championship trophies from LA, you got championship from Oakland, and to be able to draw that narrative and to tell that story and interweave that story on the different levels. So every level has its own, you know, intimate view of Raider history. So you can digest this as a kid, you know, through the art. You can digest it as an adult or as a newcomer just through the art, and also, you know, some of the context and like little statues and plaques that are positioned around the stadium. And the thing that I like the most is every player has a brick. So the attention to detail when you're walking, you know, into the stadium, there's bricks with every player that played for the Raiders on those bricks. So it's like the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It's like the Raider Walk of Fame.
100%. And we always say, once a Raider, always Raider. So any guy that's put on that iconic uniform that you see all around this building has a brick out there, and something I know the organization is really proud of. But before I let you go, because I know you're up against time, this is being in a podcast studio, talking to people is nothing new for you, nothing new for the kids over here.
Yeah.
And I know that you have a bunch of really exciting projects in the podcast space. So I just want to give you a chance, like, what are you doing? How are you creating? Like, where do the people need to find you and all the fun stuff you're doing?
Yeah, you can find me at Slick, S-L-I-C. That's our studio, Slick Studio, Sports, Lifestyle, and Culture. And then I'm the co-host of the Draymond Green Show with Baron Davis. And then I'm launching a business podcast on my own. So we have our own studio in LA, and I just like talking and interviewing people. Business Inside the Game is for business. And then the kids, I guess I'm a co-host with them too, is kids sports and stuff with King in LA, my son. So they're getting ready to launch theirs. Draymond and our show is already out, and then I'm launching another podcast, Business Inside the Game. But, for me, it's just stand behind the microphone, being a part of media, being able to translate, I think, sports culture in a way that everybody, can digest it is really like my take on why I wanted to podcast.
And I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of it just being digestible, right? Like, I think that one of the beauties of what we get to do here is that we get just have conversations with people, right? Like, we're not up against time. We're not enough to toss the commercial, do anything. You have a chance to be you, I have a chance to be me, and we have a really fun conversation. And dude, I will tell you, man, this was such a treat for me. I'm so appreciative of you coming through and spending a few minutes with us. Continued success, and I promise you one thing: I will never ever forget that dunk on Andre Kirilenko. As long as I live, brother, I will never forget it. Best of luck, and we talk to you soon, okay?
All right, baby.